Morning to everybody, and on behalf of the team at UN Global Compact Network Singapore, I'd like to welcome everybody to this course preview rather. Okay, let me get my the slide deck up, and let's get going. Okay. All right. Okay. My name is Terence Tan. I'm Director of Carbon Management for UN Global Compact Network Singapore, or GCNS for short. And I'll be your main trainer for this course, alongside a couple of my colleagues from the carbon team. What is today's short course preview going to comprise of? Firstly, let me give you a very brief introduction to who is GCNS. Then, because we run this program under the auspices of Singapore's Enterprise Sustainability Program, or ESP, we'd like to give you a bit of an introduction to that program as well. And then we'll jump straight after into the course preview itself. We'll give you an idea of the overview of the program, how you can benefit, what are the course learning objectives, and what are the key topics. And then how about payments, fees, and subsidies, and how you can apply. Finally, we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers from you as a preview participant. And then we'll end this short preview. In the past, it's taken approximately 45 minutes. Okay. So we end around 10:45, 10:50 or so, depending on the number of questions that we have. So let's move on quickly. Who is the UN Global Compact? So UN Global Compact is our parent organization. It's a United Nations, one of the United Nations organizations, and it's a member-based organization. And we are the world's largest corporate sustainability initiative. UN Global Compact exists to promote companies to adopt and to commit to sustainable practices, right, that will contribute to protecting the future of the world for future generations. As a member-based organization, we have over 12,000 companies that are committed to the 10 principles, which I will explain in the next slide. Right, and we have over 60, coming to close to 70 local networks like Singapore, all around the world. And in its region, we are particularly well represented. We have local networks or sister chapters in countries like Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, India, Philippines, Australia, Japan, and so on and so forth. We are a principles-based organization, and therefore we promote 10 principles of good sustainability practices grouped or summarized under 4 pillars of human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption. Right? You see, some of you may have seen these 4 logos in the past, right? But this one, the 17 Sustainability Development Goals, or SDGs, perhaps more familiar with many of you, because not just because they're more colorful, but because I personally have seen these logos being used by many companies and many other organizations in presenting their own sustainability practices, reports, and so on and so forth. Right? These 17 SDGs have been designed to cover the full range of what we consider to be important from a sustainability perspective, and they range from poverty, hunger, to education, gender equality, right, and to labor, to climate, right, and also to life below water, so sea life, as well as life on land, which include us, of course, and other land animals. All right, I mentioned that we run this program under the Enterprise Singapore ESP, right? So just a brief word about it. ESP is a program that seeks to build capability in Singapore companies, right? And it's sponsored and supported by Enterprise Singapore. Currently, there are three main types of sustainable ESP courses, and I'm told that more are coming on the way. There is foundational sustainability, there is decarbonization, and there is sustainable finance. Our course is under the decarbonization umbrella. We also have a sister course under the foundational branch that teaches broad and general sustainability concepts. That's called Foundations in Corporate Sustainability, or FCS, right? So ESP's decarbonization course aims to equip business leaders, right, with key knowledge to embark on decarbonization, and teaches carbon accounting, teaches about disclosures, and the why and the hows of decarbonization. Tools are also provided as part of the course. So we are one of the approved trainers under the ESP program for the decarbonization, and we call our course Carbon Accounting and GHG Management. What will you get out of this course? Firstly, you will be equipped with, at the end of the course, at the end of the 2 days, you'll be equipped with key knowledge on carbon management, such as carbon accounting, setting of targets and plans, how you can decarbonize this, how you can decarbonize your business, and also about carbon disclosures. Secondly, you will learn specifically how to baseline your company's carbon emissions. In other words, how to carbon footprint your company's emissions, and also how to identify decarbonization pathways, or in simpler words, means to reduce or save on greenhouse gas emissions for your company. In order to help you with this baselining or carbon footprinting, we provide complimentary access to our carbon calculator, which we call CERT, or Carbon Emissions Recording Tool. And finally, in order to make this course interesting and beneficial, right, you will not only learn from us as carbon management experts, but we also bring in guest speakers. As those of you who were early would have seen in the video, we typically bring in a couple of guest speakers to share their own journey and their own expertise. But also, we build plenty of time for you to learn from one another, because we believe that there is a lot of collective wisdom from the participants in the course itself. All right. Some brief course details. The format is 2 days, but they are not 2 consecutive days. It's deliberately designed to have a break in between for a mini project, right? We'll explain that in a little while. So therefore, it's 2 days or 16 hours of in-person classroom time. Right. The upcoming course dates for 2024. Our next course is on first day is on 23rd January, so that's in 12 days time, and day 2 will be 1st February. And generally speaking, we have 1 course per month, and so you can see the dates there. All the course venues are at the Singapore Sustainability Academy, which is located in City Square Mall on top of Little India MRT station. So it's quite convenient on the, I think it's the NEL line, so that's the purple line, I think, right? In terms of registrations, right, the 23rd January is almost full. We do have a few seats left, and if you are interested, we do encourage you to sign up quickly. There are still seats available on the 27th in the February run. And subsequent runs, we will open closer to the date. So you can't register for March or April or May right now. But if you cannot make it for January or February, you may want to block out those dates in your calendar for now until registrations are open later. Okay, so you may have seen this in the slides, in the course, the video just now. But what will you learn in day 1 and day 2? On day 1, we'll cover the basic aspects of what are greenhouse gases. We introduce scope 1 to 3, which are concepts that are really important in accounting. We will talk about background and the drivers for decarbonization. We'll talk about carbon pricing. We'll explain in more detail the business case for decarb. And we'll spend quite a bit of time teaching you our cert and also giving plenty of time for hands-on practice, right? And then you will go away, participants go away with enough information to carry out a small project in the intervening period between day 1 and day 2. When you come back on day 2, we'll go into a lot more, we'll up the levels from basic to intermediate, and we'll talk about how you set decarbonization targets and goals based on the SBTI methodology. Then we go into general principles of reducing carbon footprint, because we believe that just knowing and measuring your carbon footprint is not enough to make a difference on global warming, but it's also necessary to actually reduce. And in order to reduce, we will provide you with some tools, both qualitative as well as semi-quantitative, like the MACC, the Marginal Abatement Cost Curve. Then we will also talk about RECs, offsets, and the voluntary carbon market. And we'll end off with guest speaker sharing and also a peer learning activity. Course fees. The basic course fee is 1,600, but with today 9%, or this year, as you know, GST has gone up, so it's 9%. And so the full fee is 1,744. However, as mentioned, because this is run under the Enterprise Sustainability Program, ESP, ESG, Singapore, Enterprise Singapore actually subsidizes 70% of the cost fee. And this 70% is not inclusive of GST. So after you do all the calculations, subsidized participants pay only $624 for the 2-day course, right? So there are some criteria in order to qualify as a subsidized participant, right? It's only applicable to nominees from local companies and trade associations. Unfortunately, it doesn't cover organizations like institutions of higher learning, so universities and polys, for example, nor charitable organizations, right? So in order to be considered a local company, you need to be registered operator in Singapore, and TACs need to be defined as, need to be registered with ROS or ACRA and be defined as a non-profit, right? What else? And Enterprise Singapore's criteria or condition is that each company can only get up to maximum 3 subsidized participants. We do have companies that have sent more than 3, and what they do is the 4th one, 4th and 5th, for example, a participant pays the full fee, has to pay the full fee, unfortunately, right? Please note that this subsidy arrangement is different from the standard Singapore Skills Future, for example, right? So it doesn't matter, for example, if you are PR or non-citizen or whatever it is, that's not of concern for this subsidy. So the only criteria is that you are nominated by a local company. So that applies. So the same subsidy applies whether you are citizen, PR, or non-citizen. Okay. How do you apply? If you are self-sponsored, in other words, if you are not subsidized, okay, so you are individual, or as I said, you are some from an organization that's institutional high learning or charity, or you are the 4th or 5th participant from a company, then all you need to do is just complete the registration form. We will send you the invoice, you pay, and then we start the course. That's a simple one. If you, however, subsidized, right, or company-sponsored participants, there's an additional step that's required. When you send in the registration form, we need to submit verifications. This will be done so you need to submit some verification documents, right, such as a declaration form, information about your company, and then GCNS and Enterprise Singapore will do the check that you are confirmed to be an eligible subsidized participant. And once that's confirmed, then we'll send you the invoice for the subsidized fee, right? You complete the payment and you start the course. All right. So for those who are interested to find out more or who want to register, could you please scan this QR code? I'll leave it there for 30 seconds. Normally, registration closes 2 weeks or so before the start of the course. As mentioned, we are 12 days away from the run 7, or the first run in 2024. But we decide to wait a few more days because we have the course preview that's happening today. So most likely we will close today's Thursday. Most likely we will close the registration by end of this week, which is Friday. So if you still want to sign up for the 23rd January run, please do sign up as soon as possible. Okay, if you have trouble scanning a QR code, please do a quick print screen so that I can move on. All right, at the end of the course, we will provide you with or award you with a joint Enterprise Singapore and GCNS certificate of completion. Right, and it will be signed off by our Executive Director, Ms. Esther Chang. Okay, if you're not ready to sign up for the course, but you want to find out more about it, please do click on this link. This leads you to our website where all the key course information is summarized and packed on the website. Quite a bit of it is already covered in this course preview, but there's a little bit of additional information that you may find useful or interesting. Okay. So again, I'll just wait another 30 seconds or so in case you want to scan this. All right. Okay, so let's, I've done the presentation part of the preview, and now we come to, I think for some people, the more important part, which is the Q&A. And Aditi, who is our marketing manager for GCNS, will facilitate this Q&A session. Over to you, Aditi.
Thank you, Terence. I hope everyone's having a good day today. If you can see the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, you can please put in your questions there. And Terence, as of now, I have 3 questions with me. The first one is, this course is physical event and conducted in Singapore? Yes. There's a follow-up question. Is there any course conducted in Kuala Lumpur?
No, unfortunately, because... Sorry? Do you want me to answer straight away or wait?
No, please take it.
Okay, so unfortunately, this course is subsidized and supported by Enterprise Singapore. So we only run this course in Singapore, and we do not have any means or provision for even a virtual session.
I have one more question, Terence. How long does the company-sponsored verification process take after I submit the form?
I can answer this question. So usually we conduct checks with Enterprise Singapore every Thursday of the week. So expected by Monday, we should get a reply, and then we'll get the finance team to issue an invoice to you. Yeah. So around 2 working days.
Yeah, so we do have a slight problem if you sign up, say, tomorrow, Friday. We missed the Thursday run. And so for those who sign up today, I think maybe in time, but to Friday signups there will be probably a week delay or so. Yeah.
I have one more question. How large is the class size?
Normally we have 25 to 30. We kept our class size to about 35. So that there is it's not too big, and so there's enough interaction between participants, but also between us as trainers and the participants, right? But our average is typically 25 to 30. Yeah, and you can get a bit of if you have watched the videos as well, you get a bit of the idea of the size of the class. That was pretty typical.
Question here. What is the typical profile of the class participant?
We do have quite a big range. We have MDs, managing directors who have come, quite, CEOs of smaller companies, admittedly, but the CEOs of have attended. we have finance people, we've had operations people, and we have all the way down to executives. Typically, companies send quite a number of them send like 2 participants. One will be like the boss type, who is driving interest in such a program, and another one will be a somewhat more junior person who's probably the one who's going to do the carbon calculation in practice, right? And also help the boss with implementation of some of the policies and changes that are that will arise as a result of learnings from the course. So we do have a bit of a range. Similarly, okay, so that's the kind of seniority. In terms of industry, we do get quite a bit, manufacturing professionals, IT, we have quite a few consultants as well who attend our course. As mentioned, we have lecturers from the institutions, particularly the polytechnics, who come unsubsidized, right? We have a few, what do you call, agencies as well that do attend this course. So we have quite a wide range of industry sectors as well. So all kinds of seniorities and all kinds of industry sectors. And it may sound like it's overly varied, but actually it provides an interesting diversity and exchange of views with each other.
I have one more question, Terence, for you. Is the course specific to the sustainable industry in Singapore only, or is it overarching?
I may need some clarification, but let me just guess what I think the question is about. This carbon accounting is a subset of the broad sustainability, right? There are different ways to define sustainability. We mentioned the 4 pillars of UNGC, or the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Another approach is to just say that sustainability is about environment, social, and governance, right? So whichever way you look at it, this course covers a subset of the entire sustainability gamut, right? A focus on a part of environment, right? So renewable energy, climate change, that kind of thing. And so it's, in a sense, it's not overarching for sustainability, but it's a very key component, and we have a lot of participants who come because net zero, climate change, global warming is increasingly becoming the topic of conversation and driving a lot of companies to make changes in the coming years, right? Even very recently, the government produced an update of their climate impact studies, right? And some really very bad news coming out, like for example, by end of century, almost every day will be warmer, right? And the average of today, for example, that is not comfortable reading. So these are all messages that are coming out that are increasingly increasing the attention and the priority that needs to be given to global warming and climate change. I hope that answers the question.
Please feel free to put in another question if this is not what you wanted to address in this question. I have a few more. I'll take the next one. For individuals who are self-sponsored, are there any specific recommended technical backgrounds or industry-specific knowledge?
We do cover basics of carbon accounting, greenhouse gas management. So you do not need a lot of technical background or at least you do not need a lot of carbon accounting background to be able to understand and to benefit from this course. However, if you are absolutely zero on it, you don't even know what is a green, what is, for example, there's existence of global warming, climate change. It might be useful to do a bit of Googling and reading up before you actually start the course. But again, from a participant profile point of view, we do have a range. from those who do not know very much to those who, and so therefore have plenty to learn, to those who are somewhat expert and are coming to fill gaps in their knowledge.
Thank you, Terence. I'll take the next one. How intensive is the mini project? How many hours of work?
We try to keep it simple. So the mini project is really designed to give you a hands-on real-life practice on doing some, on starting off carbon footprinting for your organization. All right. So so it's not meant to be onerous, because we appreciate that only approximately on average 10 days, right, is given between day 1 and day 2, and that you have your day job that you have to complete as well. Right. So I would say that it will not be overly onerous, but some participants put more effort into it, and some admittedly a little bit less. But we've noticed that those who put in more effort actually come away more satisfied, because the more you do, the more they learn about their company's carbon footprint, and actually the more so-called we often get some aha moments that they share with us.
There's one next project, a question, sorry, which I think Akila, you can address. For the mini project, do participants have to be physically in Singapore to work on the mini projects, or is it left to the project group to manage?
If you are totally out of the country in between the 2 days, it might be quite difficult. Okay, so let me explain what the mini project is about, right? So we have, in day 1, we teach you our carbon calculator, or CERT, right? And we give you hands-on practice on it. And then the mini project is really go and collect some data from your company and populate the CERT, so that you get an initial idea or some idea of the challenges of actually collecting data for the CERT emissions calculator. And then also you get an idea of what is the size, potential size of the carbon footprint for your company. All right. So collecting the data usually requires you, for example, right, we ask you to collect the electricity data for your company. And so it's obviously easier to collect the data if you're physically in the office. But having said that, it's also possible, especially if you're well connected and you know who holds what data, you could potentially also do this virtually, either from home or from overseas. Right. Some other data might, for example, we might ask you to, to collect waste information, all right, or business travel for from your company. And depending on how your company is organized, it might be easier or slightly more difficult if you are not physically present to ask the right persons the right questions.
Thank you, Terence. I'll get to the next question. How is this course compared to other carbon accounting courses out there?
Good question. As mentioned, there are 3, I didn't mention, but I did mention that we are one of the approved so-called training providers for the decarbonization under the ESP or Enterprise Sustainability Program. In actual fact, there are altogether 3 approved training providers, and they are by design, all of us have approximately the same coverage and the same very similar content, right? And this is because ESP or ESG, Enterprise Singapore, when they were designing this, made some requirements on the potential training providers. So generally speaking, our course content is similar. Having said that, I think one of the areas where we do stand out is that we are, I think, the only one that actually provides a free carbon calculator. So our CERT tool is provided free of charge as part of the course. All right. And so I think that's one of the things that the others don't provide. And so I think we do stand out on this from this perspective.
I The next question also seeps into this particular question. They want to know, how long do participants have access to the RISE and CERT tools introduced in the course to measure the carbon footprint?
Okay. We don't really have a time limit on this. The question has never. So this is interesting. The question has never come up before because, as I said, we have no time limit to the tool, and so you could consider it in perpetuity. But I think we are constantly upgrading and updating the software versions, and so therefore, it's possible that even if the access is not revoked, eventually an old version might be, considered outdated in time. But certainly, for a few years, we encourage participants to carbon footprint their organization on an annual basis, at least for the first 2 to 3 years, so that they have a good baseline and they also understand how they are improving on their carbon emissions. Certainly, that's never been an issue or problem.
One last question. I'm starting to learn more about sustainability. Should I start off with the foundational course or can I jump straight into the decarbonization course?
There's no right and wrong answer to that because it depends on what are your objectives, what are your drivers, what are your company priorities as well, right? So, for example, if your company is just trying to start off a sustainability initiative, if your company, for example, or if you are newly appointed CSO and you want to learn, or you've just joined the CSO team, and you just want to understand broadly what sustainability is, then I would recommend that you join the foundational course, right? Join one of the foundational courses under the ESP or Enterprise Sustainability Program. However, if your company has to, for example, has got some expectations or requirements on specifically reducing greenhouse gas emissions, or some energy efficiency expectations, or some disclosures around carbon footprinting, then of course, I would recommend that you jump straight into a carbon accounting course. So it really depends on what your needs and the drivers are for this in the first place.
Thank you, Terry. The last question. Sorry, actually, it's a thank you from one of the participants. This was the last question. If there are no more questions, or would you like to, we'll give it another 30 seconds. I think there are no more questions. We're good to wrap the session.
Okay. Thank you, Aditi, for facilitating this Q&A session. And thank you to everyone who has joined the call, and especially to those who have submitted your questions. It's so interesting that we've run these previous sessions a few times, and we do still get questions that have never been asked before. So sometimes it just causes us to a bit scratch our head on how best to answer the question. But every question is interesting and valuable to us, and I hope the answers have been able to help you, make some decisions about whether you wish to join this course or not. So thank you for valuable time. I forgot to wish everyone a Happy New Year at the start, so I'll do it now, right? So best wishes to everyone for a sustainable 2024 and beyond, all the way to the end of the century. And we do hope that you can sign up soon for this course. Right. So thank you very much, and wish you a good rest of the week. And thank you to the GCNS team for supporting this.
Thank you.